The San Jose Barracuda drop a 5-4 decision to the Coachella Valley Firebirds. We are going to do that, and we are also going to talk about your ideas for trades for the San Jose Sharks. This is Teal Tinted Glasses, and it starts right now. But if you want to be part of the show, be sure to hit us up on all the social media. If you want to help the show or help the channel grow, hit like, hit subscribe, do all that fun stuff that you're supposed to do. If we get something terribly wrong, let us know in the comments. If we get something incredibly right, let us know in the comments. It's how we do things here. Tonight, I am joined by Kevin Lacey and Jules, and it is TTG. We're going to start with the Barracuda game, because that's kind of what we cover on TTG. And then we are going to have some fun with some Sharks trades that you guys have submitted, and we're going to try and go through and see if we like, if we don't like, who says no. I don't know. We'll find out.
Consider this the pre-primer for the trade deadline coming up in about 2 weeks or so. So we'll have fun with this, guys. We do still talk Sharks on this program from time to time, so it'll be fun.
I like Puck Guy in the chat. Can I get a Gary Bettman for Puck Guy's comment in the chat?
We have trades to analyze.
The
trade deadline is just 2 weeks and 2 days away. Tomorrow is 2/22/24. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a doozy.
All right. Jules, how you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I am fantastic. Kevin is with us. Obviously, Kevin, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm here too. I'm not just Gary Bettman, but I'm here too. So I have a bone to pick with a fan at the end of the show.
Oh.
But for all of you who delivered such great trades to analyze today, yeah, it's going to be a good one. So thanks for submitting all your ideas and stuff. We got a lot of good feedback. So, and
yes.
If you're if you didn't have time to send in a trade and you have an idea of what the Sharks should do or shouldn't do, feel free to list it in the chat, and we'll try and squeeze it in for you.
100%. All right. So the Barracuda, as of tonight, are now 17-24-8. They are last place in the Pacific. They are 28th in the AHL. Their power play is, after tonight's game, it is 19.1%, which is good for 14th in the AHL. I think it's still 7th in the Pacific. I don't have the updated penalty kill numbers, but they're pretty terrible.
They dropped 0.5%. They're still 31st.
All right.
They're still horrible.
Yeah, so they're last in the Pacific, and they are second of last in the AHL. I think only the Iowa Wild have a worse penalty kill than the Barracuda.
Correct. You can take our ticket salesmen and our media reps and our business directors and our event presentation directors, but you can't take away our 31st spot on the penalty kill Iowa Wild. So, booyah.
Yeah, take that. Look at the story of this season in San Jose, whether it be in the NHL or the AHL, has been basically missing bodies all year. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown of who was missing tonight. Lindblom was out with an illness. Seems like there's something going around the Barracuda room, because it seems like every game someone else is sick. Larocque, Robbins, and Gushkin all injured, which makes my heart hurt. Mukhamadullin also banged up, but he seems like he should be back sooner than... as soon as they would tell us, because the thing with the Barracuda is the teal curtain is very real, and it is nowhere thicker than it is on the Barracuda. But from the sounds of things, Mukhamadulin's a lot closer to coming back than Robbins, Gushkin, or Larocque. Healthy scratches tonight was Texeria and Heiskanen. And then that leaves Nijov and Makiniemi as big unknowns. And that is my question. Where in the world is Eetu Makiniemi? That's what I want to know.
I thought that Eetu Mäkiniemi was on that illness train with Oscar Lindblom. I mean, who knows? Given how long Lindblom has been out now with illness, you wonder if the big C word is playing into that. But I thought Mäkiniemi was also at one point ruled out due to illness. But now here we are, guys. 4 or 5 games in? He's dropped off the injury report. And same with Nikolai Knizhov. And now it's to the point where neither of them are ever mentioned on the report. And that's a bit concerning.
Yeah, I mean, because I think, like, it's funny because, like, Mäkiniemi's a guy to me. Like, obviously, injuries have been an issue here. And I wouldn't, would I be shocked if the Sharks are like, yeah, we don't want to talk about another Mäkiniemi injury. That's just not something we want to talk about. But it sucks because, like, I thought that before he disappeared again, his game was kind of rounding back into shape. Like, I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but I thought...
No, it was. I think he had his best game of the season before he just disappeared again, or whatever's going on right now with him. But yeah, he arguably had his best game of the season. I don't remember if it was a shutout. It was quite close to when I remember, but, like, really good game, and then either the injury bug or the illness bug caught up. I mean, this team has just been demolished with injury.
Didn't this happen last year, Kevin? Like, didn't Mäkiniemi get a shutout and then we never saw him again?
Actually, I think that is what happened.
Oh,
he dislocated his hip trying to make saves for this team. And I mean, sometimes you don't blame him, especially when you just take penalty after penalty after penalty. Eventually, you're just going to be in physical demolition, trying to stop the Coachella Valley power play that was tonight, for example.
What a game. Yeah, so let's get into this game here. I'll kind of give us a run through of the goals as best I can, as best as I can remember, and describe them, because I have to remember that, like, not everyone like that watches the show was able to watch the game, so I'm going to try and be a little more descriptive with how the goals went in. I did actually gift the game tonight. I forgot to do it on the proper account, so it's on my account. If you want to go on Ian Blogs Hockey, you can see some gifts of tonight's games. Coachella Valley opens the scoring. Andrew Podorowski scored a goal. So basically, he had way too much time in front of the net. He kind of faked a shot. Shimmick kind of bit on it. I didn't think Shimmick had a good game tonight, to be completely honest.
I'm with you on that.
Shimmick bit on it, and then he's kind of like, he couldn't really reposition, right? Because, like, once you've already kind of bit on a move, it's hard as a defenseman to try and figure out what you're going to do from there. And he kind of froze him. Like, he kind of did the worm. I don't know how to describe it.
I'm glad you brought that up, Ian, because yeah, Shimmick got completely faked out by the fake shot, and then he got in that no man's land where, do I stay in front and try and block this thing, or do I just get out of the way and hope my goalie makes a save? And he chose the latter, and it didn't work.
I was gonna say he did neither.
Yeah,
yeah, he couldn't reposition, and the shot beat Mäkiniemi, or not Mäkiniemi. Why do I have Mäkiniemi here? I have Mäkiniemi on the brain. Beat Magnus Krona, who was the starter tonight. Stick slide low to give the Firebirds a 1-goal lead. Max McCormick would score a goal not too long after. Max McCormick gets the puck in front of the net. Frisch can't contain him. Made some really nice moves, like just dancing in a broom closet in close, and put the puck around Corona. And at this point, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a long night. Any thoughts on the second goal?
Just not so much thoughts on the second goal. Maybe you have something, Jules, but I was just thinking the first 15 minutes, I didn't really like Magnus Krona in net tonight. I thought he was kind of falling back to what I've complained about in the past on these shows. He was kind of sloppy, out of control. I felt like after the 15-minute mark, he really settled in, and it was noticeably different. I don't know what the shot differential was at that point, but I know that Coachella Valley was continuing to bring it, and it seemed like something just changed with him, and he was much better. But yeah, it was just more of the same with Coachella Valley at TechCU Arena, where, all right, it's a 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 first period lead for the road team.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was left just alone with Krona, like just in front of the net, because I think the defense got pulled up forward or something. I don't know. It's CUDA defense. Who the fuck knows what they're doing? But Yeah, he was just left alone. And I was like, there's nothing Corona can do there because I think he just deked him out.
Yeah, I mean, it was just
I
like
didn't really blame that, but like I don't know, it was just a bad defensive play. But I could say that about every goal at this point in the season.
yeah, just Frisch just couldn't do anything to stop him, and it was like the amount of space that he worked
Yeah.
with, that McCormick had to work with, like it was a pretty nice goal. If it wasn't for the fact that this made it 2-0 Firebirds, credit where credit is due. It's a nice goal because I think it's like I said, kind of dancing in a broom closet because he didn't have a lot of room to work with, and he made the most of the space he had. The Barracuda though would come back and get on the board. Kyle Rao scores. It's a power play goal. Todd passed it to McDonald, who put a shot on the net. Rao catches, basically fishes out the rebound and beats Drager to make it 2-1 Firebirds. 2-1 Firebirds at that point. Jacob McDonald gets his first point as a San Jose Barracuda. Were you guys surprised that the Sharks put him through waivers? Like that, of all the guys they chose to put through waivers, he was the guy to go down?
Not after the Vegas game, no. I mean, I thought everyone looked bad during that game.
It's actually funny because I thought McDonald was one of the better forwards in that game for the Sharks, but I felt like he really was moving his feet in that game. But yes, Ian, to answer your question, I was surprised that he was sent down for the simple reasoning of what took so long. Like, and it's not necessarily a slight on Jacob McDonald, but I thought he would have been sent down months ago. Based on the roster at the time when Thrun came up, I thought for sure that's the nail in the coffin for McDonald's time in San Jose, at least as a Shark. But obviously David Quinn moved him up to forward and gave him kind of some new life. I know that in the past, I believe it was for the New Jersey farm team in Binghamton at the time, but it may have been the Avalanche system. I know he played forward and was pretty vocal about not enjoying playing forward. So David Quinn forced his hand in that regard if he wanted to stay in the NHL. Now back in the AHL, John McCarthy had him playing back on the blue line. And I don't know for you guys, what did you think about McDonald's performance? Because I thought he was a little bit shaky at times, but at the same time, I needed to remember he's an offensive defenseman. He's kind of always been shaky defensively. So I didn't know if it was just trying to get used to being on the back end again, or if it was just typical Jacob McDonald.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I was surprised they sent him down because I think he's been, like, again, Jacob McDonald's not my favorite player, but I think he's been a really good soldier this year for the Sharks, right? Like, he's kind of done anything they've asked him to do. Now, could you argue that, instead of playing Jacob McDonald at forward, could you have not called up somebody else and played them at forward in their actual position? Yeah, of course you could say that. And I wouldn't disagree with that either. For me, I think it's nice for the Barracuda to get him down though, because obviously with Leon Gavanke being gone now, they're going to need a little help from the blue line. I think Jacob McDonald I don't know if he can replace Leon Gavanke per se, but I think he can be a guy who can definitely make up some of that loss.
No, yeah. I mean, I think at the start he did not look great, but he definitely helped the Cuda. Like he set up, I don't remember, like 2 or 3 of those goals, eh? So he definitely looked well, and I think I think it'll help if the Cuda actually want to make a playoff push. Like he's the type of guy who will help on the blue line get some offense going because they're lacking like all of their like best scorers right now in Gushkin and Robbins. I mean, yeah. So,
yeah, that Tristan Robbins injury, that's a tough one. That happened at the end of the last game, I believe, against Bakersfield, where he got slashed in the back of the ankle by Alex Peters. Alex Peters, the definitely a known quantity in Scott Sabourin's mind this season. Yeah, so that's kind of why that game broke down there. And so hopefully Robbins is back soon, but losing Gushchin a few weeks ago and losing Robbins, the Barracuda got Jack Studnicka back tonight, which was great, especially considering I think he would have been called up by the Sharks to fill in a spot if he wasn't hurt himself. So Studnicka came back. Valtteri Puli came back So they did get a couple of bodies back, but not the main names on this team. They're still a little banged up. But Kyle Rao filling in again. They're getting another goal. I think that's 3 in the last 4 games, and they were all right around the crease. In fact, I think the first 2 goals he scored in that streak, he was literally in the crease when he scored. So this was the furthest one out at about 20 inches is what I estimated. So.
Yeah. Okay, so the Barracuda, Scott Sabourin scores his 12th of the season. Todd had control of the puck on the left, to the left of Dreger, and then Sabourin was able to get wide to his right. Kind of no one, just kind of snuck back. No one was there really covering him. Todd gets him the puck. Great pass, better shot. Dreger can't do anything about it, and it's a 2-2 tie game.
Yeah, that was a nice play set up just from the start. I don't remember which player was in the corner. It was either Todd or Castles.
It was Castles.
But it was Castles in the corner. I believe Todd came in on the rush, fed him. Castles fed him back, and then that's when Todd got it over to Sabourin. And Sabourin had a very interesting start to the game. I think just overall, a very physical first period we haven't mentioned. Extremely physical. It was borderline agitating for me, given my personal hockey game that I played last night. That was a lot of similarities there, but both teams were really at each other's throats, and good on Sabourin for, at the time, staying out of the penalty box to score that goal.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, Jules.
No, I was just saying Sabourin had like the good and the bad this game. There are some moments where I was like, yeah, you go Sabourin, and there's other moments where like, you gotta be kidding me, Sabourin, why are you doing that right now? It's kind of like the same thing with Ozzy. Like, I have the same debacle with Ozzy. He does some things that, like, he laid out another guy today just flat out. I don't remember at what period, but he killed a man again for like the 8th.
It was early in this. It was early in this. In fact, I think it was right after the Scott Sabourin goal. I can't remember who he hit.
Yeah, he just absolutely laid out a man. And then then they take dumb penalties, and we're back at where we were. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So the Barracuda get their first lead of the game, and their only lead of the game, unfortunately. Nathan Todd, who I thought had a great game tonight. I think Nathan Todd's been such a good player for the Barracuda this year.
Again, I still don't get it, but it works.
Me neither.
So keep doing your thing, Nathan Todd.
The memes in the Discord are helping Nathan Todd, y'all.
Yeah, Todd carries the puck into the face-off circle, and Dreger doesn't really get set. He kind of opens his 5-hole, and Todd makes no mistake. Sees the 5-hole open and puts the puck into the back of the net. 3-2 Barracuda. Things are looking really good for the Barracuda at this point. And then things kind of go off the rails, unfortunately.
Penalties.
Yeah. So Ethan Cardwell takes a pretty unnecessary offensive zone penalty. There's nothing. There's no reason to take this penalty. This game was really rough. It got to the point where the referees were like, we're taking one guy. So if you guys want to keep this up, there's going to be power plays all night. And there was. Logan Morrison, basically they put on Ethan Cardwell takes a penalty. Coachella puts just a clinic, a power play clinic. And Ethan Morrison gets the puck, shoots through a ton of bodies, beats Corona. Game's tied 3-3 at this point. And then this is to me, this is the turning point of the game. This is where it all goes wrong, because at the end, then Sabourin takes a penalty. And he basically goes through Chris Dreger. The puck goes through Chris Dreger. Sabourin goes through Chris Dreger. So the puck crosses the line, but obviously this is as big as goaltender interference as it comes in the league. So he gets a 2-minute penalty for goaltender interference. What did you think of the goaltender interference call? Because I feel like he didn't really. I guess he didn't really need help going through the net though. No one pushed him into the goalie, so. I get it. I think it's
he just kind of went in. I think he had too much momentum to stop himself from going in, though. That's what
it did seem like a momentum thing, Jules. I mean, he should have made an attempt. I think if he makes an attempt to stop, maybe there's a chance that defenseman comes into contact with him where it looks dressed up enough that man, hey, it's AHL officiating.
Sure.
We've seen we've seen worse get let go for goals. So, but yeah, that was just a no-brainer, or on, I guess, no-brainer for the refs to call that, and a no-brainer decision by Sabarin to just decide,
Just
you know
go
what,
through 'em.
I'm going to see which one of us can stay standing. It was not
Yeah.
the goalie.
Yeah, I think like you're right. I think if he tries to stop, then maybe it's a situation where maybe okay, the goal's coming back obviously, but maybe you don't end up in the box at the same time. And then at the end of the period, Sabrin comes out, whistle blows, and he takes another penalty, right? And it's just like it's Jeff VL syndrome. That's what it is.
Oh,
Scores
that's a good
goal.
compare.
Oh,
Except
that's a
Jeff
good
Field
one.
doesn't really score. Well, actually, I should not say that. But like, no, I just with Sabrath again, it's give it and take it. Like he's an agitator. He's gonna agitate the opponent.
Yeah.
But the Cuda have so many of those right now.
He
Like
was
every
just
other
kinda
guy's
off
an
kilter.
agitator.
He was just kind of off kilter, I think, at that point. Like he got through the first period. Coachella was clearly trying to goad him into penalties,
Yeah.
and it was Ian McKinnon was trying to get him to fight, and he wouldn't, which I thought was great because Scott Sabarin is starting to get a little bit high up on the fighting major count, and he needs to cool it if he wants to be able to finish out the season. It was actually nice to see Artem Guryev step up and get in a fight with someone. I don't remember who it was, but I think it was John Hayden. So Sabarin didn't have to fight that particular battle, but then he just kind of lost his head there, especially at the end of the second period. I mean, there's a player down in the corner, a Firebirds player down in the corner. He just unnecessarily shoves him or cross-checks him or something. And then the pile comes in. And as the linesman's pulling away, I think Sabarin realizes he's going to get a penalty. So then he just starts throwing punches at any player in white. And he's actually lucky that he didn't get a 10-minute misconduct or 4 and a 10. He's lucky he only got the 2. He was a little bit out of control, and unfortunately, with the Firebirds power play, I mean, they only got 5 opportunities tonight. Despite all the penalties we're talking about, they only got 5 power play opportunities, but they scored 3 times.
Yeah.
They just cashed in on all of them. Like there was no stopping it.
Yeah. So starting the third period, Logan Morrison scores again. Again, Barracuda start the period killing off a penalty, and the Firebirds basically hem the Barracuda in their zone. No one's able to change it pretty much the whole 2 minutes. Like this goal comes right at the end of the power play. Cole Lind finds Morrison in front of the net with a pass. He easily beats Krona, who I think was trying to move to, I think he just read the play wrong and was trying to move towards Lind, and he was going one way, the puck went the other, and pretty easy goal for Logan Morrison, unfortunately, to make it 4-3 Firebirds. Just again, it's unfortunate, right? Because I think the Barracuda, you look at the roster, we talk about the way that they are shorthanded. I thought they played the Coachella Firebirds really hard this game, and I think you had a lead and you kind of let it go. To finish up the game, go ahead, Kevin.
I was just saying, the last game in Palm Desert was the first time the Barracuda ever beat the Firebirds. Is that correct? Or was that the game before that?
I think it was the game before.
The last game, it was the game before that, because last time they got shut out.
All right. So, I mean, the team finally has a little bit of belief that they can beat the Firebirds, but you're not going to be able to beat them the way they played tonight. They were in the game, and it was a damn good, entertaining game. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
There was just the whole Herb Brooks saying from Miracle about a bunch of monkeys humping a football. That's what both teams looked like tonight. So,
yeah, and that's the thing. I think just to wrap this up here quick, Devon Shore would score on an empty net, but the Barracuda do try and make it a little bit interesting with a minute left in the game. Jack Studnicka deflects an Ethan Cardwell shot behind Drieger, and it's 5-4. Unfortunately, with a minute left, the Barracuda can't get much more going. Again, I think, I've watched way worse Barracuda games this season. Yeah. This is frustrating for the way they lost, but this was a good game. I enjoyed this game a lot. I don't like the outcome, but the Barracuda, frustrating the way they lost it, sure, but I like I said, I've watched way worse Barracuda games this year. The Barracuda, I'll give them a lot of credit. Coachella's a really good team. And the Barracuda played them hard, missing a lot of bodies.
Yeah, no, this was probably one of the better games I've seen them play against Coachella, just because Coachella kind of just has their number. I don't know why the Sharks just always get numbered by the expansion team. Don't know why. So Utah or whoever gets the next team, you will own the Sharks.
Bad.
So I don't know. Like, hopefully they've been playing a lot better recently. I do have to give them that. So I can tell there's kind of a push going. Again, I don't think they make the playoffs, but we'll see.
I mean, they had played Kevin. They've been playing better lately. I mean, I think they're what, maybe 5-4 in their last 5-4-1 now. I think.
Let's see if I can quickly pull this up because I did want to look at that. I got the special team.
I think they were
numbers up here. So.
6-3-1 before the.
Okay, so they're 5-4-1 in their last 10. Yeah, so they got picked up an extra loss there in that category. But yeah, I mean, the last 3 shows we've done, we've said the Barracuda were either in 30th or 31st in the league, so they at least climbed back up to 28th. I mean, that's 28th is 28th, but at least it's something. And they are they're overall performing better. I think that the Gavanka trade, though it looks bad optically, is giving some guys some opportunities who haven't there. I've wanted to see Waltteri Pulley get more ice time. Not that I don't know if there's an NHL player there, but I think that he has been inconsistently deployed, and you got to give that guy reps if he's going to become an NHL player. Like a lot of people thought he might be going into last offseason when he was a hot ticket free agent out of Finland. But even like Roman Canal, I thought has looked pretty good after spending this entire season in Wichita, kind of the odd man out after being one of the only college free agents retained from last year. Canal, I think, is performing better. Anthony Vincent is a good one to get back in the lineup again for a game like tonight where it's a lot more physical. I mean, he was right in the mix. He scored his first pro goal in his return game. So we're starting to see the effort there. I almost feel like everything we complained about in our midseason rankings about the team's philosophy and how they're deployed and everything, changes are finally coming. I don't think it took our podcast to make it happen, but maybe it did. I don't know. But finally, someone within the organization identified what we've been crying about all year. So I think overall, tonight the penalties really killed the team. But the defensive structure has been a lot better. And guess what? When defensive structure is better, usually you can break the puck out better. And then guys like Bordelot and Rao and Gushin, if he gets back in the lineup soon, will be able to do a lot more offensively.
Yeah, I mean, I even like Guryev's game today. And Guryev's not my guy at all. But I kind of liked his game tonight. I thought he, again, you're talking about like when they were trying to get Sabrin to go and he kind of stepped in so that Sabrin, could kind of keep cool. It obviously didn't work right till the end of the game, but I thought that was a good shout when you mentioned that. And man, like Guryev likes to hit people.
Yeah, Guryev's another one. The last game against Coachella Valley, he took out Andrew Podorowski with a high hit and was thrown out of the game. I heard the league. Drew Remenda said it on the broadcast that I guess the league rescinded his suspension. The fact that he, as a young player, a physical player who definitely goes over the line from time to time, of all people, he stood in there and was the calming effect for the yin to Scott Sabrin's yang in a way. So, good on Artem Guryev. Not the favorite of this podcast or the folks in our chat, but I agree with you. That was a good call, Ian.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on this game before we get into the trades?
They're playing better. That's a positive, eh?
Well, Nathan Todd was second star with a goal and 2 assists again. Really just coming in and doing all the little things right. And I just saw people in the chat were saying maybe it's time he gets a call up.
No. Because then they're gonna put Eklund with Todd, and I'm just gonna want to not know.
I mean, we saw what happened in the last Sharks game, and you know, who knows what might turn things around. But yeah,
after the trade deadline, we can start this conspiracy theory that Todd's getting a call up.
Can Todd even get it? Like what?
Maybe
isn't he on an AHL deal?
That's what I was gonna ask. Like, would they have to sign another NHL contract to make that work? I'm looking right now.
No, he's under NHL contract.
Okay. Oh, he's under NHL terms. Okay.
It's Cole Castles. Cole Castles is the one on the AHL contract.
Yes, Nathan Todd's on a 2-year.
And naturally, tomorrow Todd's getting called up.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
what have we done?
Logan Morrison with 2 goals and 2 assists, though, coming through. We need our rookies to step up like this kid has. So
I mean, we only have 1 this year.
Moving on.
Sorry, Michael Molasses, but Cardwell.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's good. When the Barracuda do bad, it's good. No, it's not. It's not good. All right, so we got some trades to judge here, guys. I'm just gonna kind of go through them here, and so we tried to get like some details. Some people just kind of said, do this for a second, and they didn't really say where or what. So in that situation, we'll just kind of be like, yeah, that would be nice, or that would just never work, or whatever. So at Hot Wheels on Twitter, good friend of the show, he says Ferraro for a second, not anywhere. Ferraro for a second. I mean, if you can get a second from Ferraro,
if you can get a second for that guy,
you
just
do it, and you run and you laugh.
Because there are some prospects that are definitely eyeing in that second round, and if you can get a second for Mario Ferraro, snap of the finger.
See, I still think that Ferraro is still a decent commodity around the league. He's a young player. Yeah. He's a mobile player. He does pretty much everything. I'm not saying he does everything great, but if you need him to play physically, he'll do it. If you need him to block shots, he'll block shots. I would like to see him put up more offense. I think the offensive game hasn't quite been there to really elevate his trade value, but I think that Sharks fans are a lot more down about Mario Ferraro than his actual value. So a second round pick, I would not just straight up go, oh yeah, that's it, done. Like, especially when this team needs defensemen, and sure, we think the Sharks are going to take a forward and a defenseman in the draft. That defenseman's not coming to the Sharks next season. So to fill in a spot like Mario Ferraro's.
None of the D-men are NHL ready. Well, maybe, but that's never mind.
I think Mook, but like
but that's a big shoe to fill.
But that's yeah. I mean, that's a lot of minutes to much. I do like what you say here, Kevin, because I do think like Mario Ferraro is a guy who I've lost a lot of love for over the last couple of seasons.
Oh, certainly. Absolutely.
But I think it's one of those things where I think you're right. I think it's something where sometimes you can just be too close to something and it kind of skews your like, and it works both ways, right? Like sometimes, fans will fall in love with a prospect and they'll be like, oh, you can't move this prospect because it's whatever. And so I think it's, I think it's a good point, and I think it's a well taken point.
I think if you get like maybe another, like, I don't think a change of scenery would hurt Mario Ferraro.
No, I don't. I just think that a change of scenery will help him develop into the defenseman that we'd hoped he would be.
Yeah.
And so that's why I don't want the Sharks to sell too low on a player like
maybe a second and then another struggling defenseman who needs a change of scenery. Like, okay. Like there's a guy here from Edmonton that's going to come up here in a bit. But like, like Broberg, for example, like if Edmonton needs defense, they have, what's his face? God, the guy from Nashville, Ekholm.
Yep.
You give me a second and, Broberg for Ferraro. like that kind of solves one of the issues, but Broberg may not actually anyways. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean it's an interesting thing. Jerry F coming with the super chat. Let me just hit this up quick. Jerry F saying, I'm just joining. Thanks for the CUDA coverage. Man, that's what we do. And now we're just having fun, just, being silly on YouTube with some trade talk.
But hey, Jules, I like that though. Like you came up with a counter. That's kind of what I wanted to do with all this. You come up with a counter, what we would say. Okay, yeah, that's a doable option. And so second and Broberg for Ferraro, I might
we'll add in a 7th round pick. There you go.
Yeah, I need to squeeze a 7th round pick out of you, but I might be okay with making that deal with you.
And this one's gonna be this one's gonna be controversial.
God no.
Eklund trading William Eklund for a first because he's not a Mike Grier pick. Now look in Hot Wheels defense. I do want to point out that is like, I understand why people are saying this because we have seen Mike Grier come in and a lot of Doug Wilson Jr. draft picks have gone out the door in rapid succession since Mike Grier has taken over. So I understand this logic. The problem is I look at a guy like Alex Lafreniere. I look at a guy like Quentin Byfield. Now, these guys are higher draft picks, obviously, than William Eklund was taken. But I know a lot of people are a little disappointed with William Eklund's point output this year. Jerk talked about it on the Pucknologist on Sunday. And I get where these people are coming from. But I think when you look at those players, like I think giving up on Eklund right now would come back and haunt the Sharks for years to come. I don't think William Eklund is the centerpiece of this whole thing when it's all said and done, but he is going to be a big part of it.
Go ahead.
Sorry. No, go Lacey.
Unless that first round pick is a top 5 pick, I don't know why the Sharks would ever do this. And I don't know why anyone with a top 5 pick would trade it for William Eklund. I think basically that's saying you cut your losses on Eklund right now, which I don't see there being losses on him. So why, what's there to cut? But you'd basically be, he was drafted 7th overall by this team, and you'd be trading down to most likely between 15 and 32. That's not an improvement. And then you still have to develop the player and then hope they become an NHL player. So sorry, Hot Wheels, I cannot get on board with this one.
Byfield, his first season in 40 games, had 10 points.
Yeah.
Like, we can't just, and I think it might have been Lacey. I was telling Lacey, I think the Sharks actually have a second line center here. Like, yes. I think if his game develops a little more, if he gets a little more aggressive, of course there's going to be miscues. He's a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
But like, giving up on him for like anyone, and like, would I have Celebrini over Eklund? Absolutely. If whoever has the first overall pick wants to offer Eklund for Celebrini, I'm taking Celebrini all the way. And I'm the most like Eklund lover, I think, out of everyone on this like group. So like, unless it's top 3, I'm even gonna say like maybe top 5, keep Eklund. He's gonna be your second line center, I think, for the future. So keep Eklund.
Yep. So we're hanging up the phone on that one.
Yeah.
Grier, don't you dare.
William Eklund. Yeah, I cannot. I agree. I cannot get on board with anything for Eklund. I think it would be the wrong, like, I understand moving guys out, right? Like, I understand Mike Grier, like
Brandon
more different players. Sure, right? Ryan Merkley.
I don't think we're getting a first round pick for Brandon Coe.
Well,
no.
No. If we do,
I'll buy on that.
Tampa, give us a first round pick for Brandon. Oh, you don't have your first round pick. Boston, there you go.
Yeah, okay. So Logan Teal in the Discord gave us some trades here. So the first one I've got here is a trade between the San Jose Sharks and the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Tampa Bay Lightning get Ryan Carpenter, and the San Jose Sharks get a 2024 5th round pick. Here's my problem with this. Tampa always way overpays for these guys. Like, You're only getting a 5th from Tampa? What's going on here, Logan? Like, Tampa always, like, okay, now I understand Ryan Carpenter's more of a tweener than some of the other guys they've given up a lot of draft capital for. Tanner Jeannot, Barclay Goodrow. But
first round pick.
I don't know, man. I still think like a fifth is a little light, but I don't. I mean, I think it's an interesting trade for Tampa Bay. Obviously, Ryan Carpenter is a guy I love. I love Ryan Carpenter. You know, and he's a guy who can, you know, kind of play in a lot of different, like a lot of bottom, you know, in your bottom six situation. It's your typical trade that you see a lot of come the deadline. Kevin Lacey, what say you?
So I probably should have forced you to put this further down because I actually, in my trade proposals, was going to say Ryan Carpenter for a 7th round pick. If you can get a 5th, to me, out of Tampa, to me, that's your steal right there. But I do see what you're saying, and Ryan Carpenter has a lot of value for a playoff team in the sense of, okay, he's probably going to be the 13th or 14th forward on that playoff team. But if there's an injury coming in, an injury to one of the forward players, he's not coming in to be a top 6 forward for that. You know, he's coming in to be a depth role, and he is perfectly suited for that. He's there to be defensively responsible. He might chip in a goal or two. He will definitely play physically. He's the absolute perfect player outside of like another goal scorer. He's a perfect player to plug in and play when you need him in the grind of the playoffs. So I think absolutely buy. To me, I'm looking at the New York Rangers.
Ooh, yeah, I like the Rangers is a good shout too. Jules, any thoughts on this trade?
I was curious of how many draft picks Tampa had so we can fleece them on Ryan Carpenter, but no, Tampa has. We're not gonna talk about that, but they don't have a lot. But yeah, if you can get a 5th for Carpenter, like I'm happy. I'm trying to see if maybe the Rangers have more to offer, but like let's be real. If we get anything more than like a 7th, I'm going to be ecstatic for Ryan Carpenter. Yeah. It does scare me how bare the Sharks are then gonna be at center, but again, if you can get like what do the Rangers have? Like the Rangers 6th and like a 5th, I'm happy. Anything in that range, but yeah. Fair trade.
I didn't. You know what? It's because I didn't look at what the Lightning have for picks.
They have a third.
Yeah, I don't think
5th.
they're giving you a 3rd for Ryan Carpenter. All right, I forgive the 5th at this point.
They don't have a 1st till 2026. So
I mean, you're not getting a 1st for Ryan Carpenter, but like,
I want a 1st for Ryan Carpenter. I'm checking.
But I just feel like it's Tampa's like one of those weird teams that just always overpays for the weirdest guys.
If I'm the Sharks, though, I would accept the 5th round pick.
I would.
If I'm Tampa Bay,
100%, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like Tampa Bay's got bigger fish to fry than Ryan Carpenter. But if you can make that bigger move and still fit him in, because Ryan Carpenter's making league minimum, so
yeah,
then you can go that route of the 5th. But I think they need to take
Toronto. I feel like would also be in on this type of player. Just like, I mean, that might have been more Kyle Dubas, but like depth. Why are you making that trade kind of move? You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. Okay, number 2 from Logan Teal. You can find him on Discord. To Edmonton, Anthony Duclair, 50% retained. To San Jose, Philip Broberg, Matthias Janmark, 2025 3rd. And his reasoning here is Edmonton gets a player who has a history of high scoring in good situations at a solid cap hit. Sharks get a reclamation project in Broberg and a mid-round pick since Duclair has struggled.
I like Broberg. I'm trying to see. Janmark's a UFA at the end of this year. I think that's fair. You get another body. I love Duke. He's just been a little disappointing. I mean, I know he just scored 2 goals versus Columbus. But Duke's been a little disappointing. So if you can get a young not up and coming, but a struggling defenseman, I think with Ryan Rosofsky, you know, you may be able to work out some of those kinks with Broberg, or at least. At the very least, he'll help the CUDA, man. I mean, I'm down for that.
I absolutely would buy if I'm the Sharks. I just don't see this making sense for Edmonton. I don't really think they need more scoring. And Duclair, he gets a little pouty on the ice from time to time. And isn't that what Edmonton absolutely wants to avoid? They already got Evander Kane. And they've got their history of collapses in the playoffs. So this just doesn't seem like a fit to me if I'm Edmonton, so I would pass if I was them. If I'm the Sharks, though, absolutely. You get Broberg in a third, and you eat Janmark. Janmark can go in and fill in for Ryan Carpenter and be an improvement over Ryan Carpenter, to be honest. But I don't see Edmonton doing that. But that's why Logan submitted multiple trades to us. So
yeah,
that I wouldn't be. Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, for me, I think I agree. Like, I think if you're the Sharks, then yeah, you're all over this. I think that there's a lot to gain here, and you're not really giving up much to do it. I do have questions on Edmonton, though. Like, if Edmonton hangs up the phone here, I feel like Edmonton probably hangs up the phone here.
Because I feel like does.
Janmark, like, you're only losing $1 million there. I think if they're gonna do something, like, maybe if they need to, like, try and move some cap around to do something else on top of this, then maybe this makes a lot of more sense for them. But I think I just wonder if they get into a situation where Stuart Skinner falters a little bit and they need Broberg to throw in for a goalie.
I mean, then we can offer Capo Kakkonen.
Yeah, but do you want? I don't know. I mean, Capo Kakkonen's I mean, look at it. To me,
I'm not saying trade Kakkonen. I'm just saying, like, if Edmonton wants a goaltender, I know Kakkonen's also a little bit of an unknown in the league, so I get that.
Yeah, I wonder who's going to be out there as far as goaltending goes, right? And I think that's the big question for.
I don't know how many are there. Like, Detroit has 3, but I think like 2 of them are injured.
Yeah.
Toronto's also probably going to be on the market for some sort of goaltending.
And Carolina is talking about Frederick Anderson is about ready to come back, and they're going to have 4 goaltenders if that happens.
Yeah.
So, like, Spencer Martin, who just got, I think, claimed off waivers a few weeks ago or whatever. I mean, maybe Carolina ends up working that into a trade, but, like, who's trading for Spencer Martin? I mean,
yeah. A team I wouldn't be. Sorry, Ian.
I was just saying, I don't think this is, like I said, I don't think it's a bad. I don't think it's a terrible deal. I have questions.
A team I wouldn't be surprised going for Duke is Florida again. Like, you look at Florida, I think I'm looking at their cap friendly. They have some young players that they could offer up for Duke, like Philip Broberg level players, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have their third, they have their fourth, they have 2 5th-round picks. Like, and one of them is the Flyers. But the Flyers are suddenly good. Anyways. But yeah, a team that I wouldn't be surprised going for Duke Claire. If he ends up back in Florida, that wouldn't surprise me. He just seemed to have his best career season there.
All right.
Do you guys want to lump all the Duclair ones together? Or just come back to them?
We'll come back to them. Because I don't want to miss anything if I start scrolling through my sheet here.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, I derailed that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. This is what we do on TTG. We derail things. Logan's third trade to Colorado, Justin Bailey. To San Jose, a 4th-round pick, basically a repeat of the Esamont deal.
I love Justin Bailey. If Mike Greer can get a 4th-round pick for him, I will be bowing down to Mike Greer.
The organization, I think this is a historical repeat here, because Jacob Magna got traded for a 4th and Mikey Esamont got traded for a 4th, and they were both found money. So in that regard, I wouldn't rule it out. But I don't think that's happening.
I feel like a 4th's high for Justin Bailey. Who I
like a first for Barclay Goodrow again. It's like the same thing, and I don't know.
I mean, it's nice. Like, Justin Bailey, like, credit Justin Bailey, because Justin Bailey started the year on an AHL contract and has done really well on an AHL. Like, I was so mad when the Sharks signed a contract to get him on.
I know. I kept trying to reason with you because I love Justin Bailey. So.
But like, I've come along. I've really come around on it.
I will say, though, the Avs, sorry, I'm going to be that cap friendly nerd right now. The Avs do have the Seattle's 5th-round pick. That's, I think, more reasonable of what you're going to get out of Bailey. And even that's really fucking high for Justin Bailey. I love Justin Bailey. I love the speed he provides, the forechecking. He's good, but, like, you're not going to get anything higher than a 5th for that guy.
Go ahead.
If the Sharks aren't planning on retaining Justin Bailey after the season, go for it. I mean, if you think he's a player who will come back after the year with the year that he's had here, then I don't know. I don't know if you'd want to trade that player. I mean, he's not going to be a middle six guy even, but I don't know if you want to move that. I mean, look at Barabanov. Barabanov built his stock up and wanted to stay here because it was a legitimate opportunity. And this is the first time Bailey's had a legitimate NHL opportunity since his probably the middle of his Buffalo days.
Right.
So what I will say, and then I'll get back to you, Ian, is so it's Bailey for a 4th round pick. Mm-hmm. I don't see that being higher than a 6th. But if Mike Greer can shop Justin Bailey around, I mean, again, an affordable player. Mm-hmm. You look at cash-strapped teams like Colorado, like Jules said, or Toronto, as we've already said. You know, you pit them up against each other, you start creeping towards that 4th round pick.
Yeah. And like you look at these teams that have other teams like 5th or 4th round pick, and you kind of see which one will give you the higher one of like which team's doing worse or which team's doing better.
Yeah.
Like a team like Toronto, I would not be surprised to see them being in on Bailey either.
Yeah, I think I just think a 4th round pick is a little high.
You're not.
I understand.
Oh yeah.
You're not.
I understand the logic of it. Like I get the logic of it. I just think a 4th is high. Logan, we appreciate you submitting your trades. We hope that
yes.
We hope that you didn't that you're not upset with us. Okay, so Zetterlund for a shot. I believe this is Phipps because Phipps changes his name all the bloody time into the Discord. Phipps, if this isn't you, then I apologize. If it's not Phipps and I just gave Phipps credit for this, then I apologize to whoever submitted this. Sometimes I have trouble keeping track of who's who in the Discord. To Toronto, and this is like obviously I think we had the David Pagnotta who's kind of been on this like. Ferraro and Cunnin, the Leafs are really interested in both of those players, and I guess if you're Brad Tree living, I guess you are. I don't know. I think Brad Tree.
When did David Pagnotta join the Shark staff? Because he also put out the Logan Couture maybe traded soon, and I'm like, can he play ever again?
No, it was just out that Couture's like Nashville's interested. I'm like,
yeah. So I mean, hey, he wants to do Mike Greer's selling for him. Sure.
I like Pagnotta. Like I think Pagnotta does hit a lot, but I have questions.
There's some things where I'm like, what are you talking about, man?
Right.
That guy's literally on injured reserve right now, and I'm doubting his playing career.
He's played like a handful of games this season before going back out.
Sure, to the Winnipeg Jets. I've said it here first.
All right. To the Toronto Maple Leafs, Mario Ferraro, Capo Kakinen, 25% retained. To San Jose, Ilya Samsonov, Timothy Liljegren, and a Toronto 2024 first.
I'm accepting that. I love Timothy Liljegren. But I also might be the only one here who likes him, so maybe not.
This trade was insane when I first saw it, and then I started thinking about it a little bit more. I think Toronto's got to add to it.
Actually,
get Ferraro, because you're basically. I feel like Samsonov for Kakkonen is kind of a wash in a way, because can Kakkonen elevate his game in Toronto? I don't know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That's smart.
And so. All Toronto's really getting out of it, in my eyes, is Ferraro and cap space, which cap space in Toronto is gold.
Yeah.
That's why they, you got Liljegren in a first.
Here's the thing. They also have minimal prospects and like young guys coming up. I mean, they do have a few, I will say that. So whenever you can get like the young defenseman like Ferraro, even though you're giving, it's kind of like Mario Ferraro for Timothy Liljegren and a first round pick, and then Ilya Samsonov for Kakkonen.
Right.
And I see what you're saying. Like Toronto may want more for that because Kakkonen is very much so an unproven goaltender in this league.
I like Timothy Liljegren. I think he's a guy who probably needs a change of scenery at this point. Mm-hmm. But I look at this Toronto defense core right now, and the fact that Timothy Liljegren hasn't cracked this lineup is a little concerning.
Exactly.
But again, another guy a reclamation project. Mike Greer kind of loves those. Capo Kakinen's had a really good year. I am always skeptical of a guy who's really good when money is owed to him. And I've said this many times, and I will continue to say that about Capo Kakinen because Capo Kakinen time has been basically split between good play when money is due and not so great play when money is being made. The goaltending situation in Toronto would scare the hell out of me if I'm looking at their goaltending as Brad Treliving. Their goaltending scares the hell out of me. Samsonov, I don't even like. He's been better, but I don't know if he's a guy that I want to try and carry me to a Stanley Cup final. Which leads you to a young guy in Wool if he can get healthy and start going again.
Wool was reassigned for conditioning today.
So
too,
there you go. So he's a guy that you know. But do you want to pin all your playoff hopes on him, or is that like your absolute, this is, we're going down swinging moment? Martin Jones is still Martin Jones. I don't care what
I
you
forgot
tell
he was
me.
on the Leafs.
I don't care what you say to me. Martin Jones is still Martin Jones. Capo Kakinen's played really good behind this Sharks team, and he is still owed money. And also you look at the Leafs, and it sounds like they're looking for a defenseman. Now, it sounds like they want to be in on guys like Chris Tanev, Noah Hannafin. But if you miss out on those guys or can't make those guys work, you go down the list. If Mario Ferraro's out there, again, maybe this is something where I'm too close and I don't see the value there. I think he's like, again, he's off. He's been off the Christmas card list for a while now. But if you're, kind of going down the list of guys and you can't get other guys, I don't hate this trade, if I'm Toronto, I don't think it's their first move, but I think if they try to do other things and they do decide that they do want to try and shore up their goaltending with Capo Kakinen, I could see this happening. And like, again, you look at a guy like, again, Mario Ferraro, maybe not my favorite player, but I think if you start going down the list of guys that are available and you strike out on those guys, Mario Ferraro might look pretty sexy at that point. And again, I don't think Brad Treliving is a great NHL general manager to begin with.
I think if the Sharks get offered this, I think they should take it.
Oh, the Sharks should take it and run.
Like the Sharks should take it and absolutely run. You're getting Timothy Liljegren, who honestly, if you paired him with like, I don't know, Mook Madulin, that could be a solid. I don't know the hands. I suck at the hands. I don't remember people's hands. But like,
he's a righty. As far as I recall, he's a righty.
And Mook is playing on his offside. So yeah, if you do that, like that would be such a fun pairing to watch. I think if you're the Sharks, you take this and run. Personally, I don't care if Toronto, right? Like, yeah, if Toronto, I don't see why Toronto would do this. I think it's kind of a dumb trade for Toronto, in all honesty. But like, if I'm the Sharks, if Greer can pull this off, I will be genuinely shocked and questioning Brad Treliving's sanity. So,
Kevin, does Toronto say no?
I don't think Toronto says no, but I think the Sharks should get something more out of that.
May I offer you a seventh-round pick?
I would say no if I was the Sharks.
They don't have.
What else would you want?
I would disagree with that.
What else would you want if you were the Sharks? Like a third-round pick?
They don't have it. Oh, you could take the Islanders third.
The Islanders third? But now I feel like that's an over. I don't know.
But that's the thing. Toronto wants an affordable long-term defenseman and an affordable goaltender and cap space. Then you got to pay up Maple Leafs.
That's valid. I forgot about the cast. Yeah, I guess the Islanders. They have the Islanders third, eh?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, I don't think the Sharks will get enough.
Yeah, that's the problem too, right? Like if they trade their first, then they don't have, I think it's going to be hard to get the first out of Toronto. Like, I think they're going to.
Are you giving up a first for Mario Ferraro then? Or are you giving up a first for just cap space and like Kakinen?
You're giving. I mean,
yeah,
cap space and Kakinen.
The cap spacing, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's valid. That feels very high for Toronto, but that also might be me.
But Toronto needs that cup.
Yeah, no, they do. They really do. Get Steve Dangle a cup, Brad Treliving.
Well, they're in Will. I mean, they're like, again, they're a team that has to go for it, right? Like this team has to go for it. The East is not easy to win. I don't know, man.
And with the Nylander, well, I mean, I know Nylander did get his money, but like something's gonna break at some point, so they gotta do it now.
Yeah.
No, that's valid.
All right. Interesting conversation. Okay, so Phipps number 2 is to the New York Rangers. Anthony Duclair to the San Jose Sharks. The New York Rangers 2025 third, and Matthew Robertson.
So Matthew Robertson is a 22-year-old. What position?
He's a
he's a D-man.
22-year-old 6'4" defenseman with offensive upside and all-around ability, and I take this and laugh my ass off to the bank.
Yeah.
This to me makes zero sense for the Rangers to do whatsoever. So if I am the Sharks, this is an absolute layup.
Yeah. Like
it's not happening.
It's not happening, but like he's putting up very good numbers on the Wolfpack as a defenseman, like 5 goals, 25 assists for 30 points is a -9, but I don't really give a shit about that. It's an offensive defenseman.
Yeah.
I take this all day if I'm the Sharks. Like, you're getting a very good young D-man.
Yeah, if I recall, he was like 55th overall or something like that.
Yeah. In the 2020, no, not 2021. 2019.
Was I on that pick?
Yeah, he was 49th. He was
Darn,
the
second
round 49th overall by the Rangers. I take this and I laugh my ass off. So, yeah, all good.
And I told Jules over the weekend, like, Duclair was drafted by the Rangers. So it's funny that we got a trade offer from Zetterlund for Richard from the Rangers, because the Rangers let him go for, like I said, he's kind of pouty on the ice from time to time. And I think that's why Quinn loves him and hates him at the same time. And I know it's a different management regime in New York right now, but they walked away from Duclair once.
Yeah.
So...
Also, New York did say they would not trade their first round pick because they want to make it very big because their owner owns the Sphere. So that's something important to note. New York did flat out say we're not trading our first round pick. So they might actually have to give up. Yeah, but they might actually have to give up one of their young prospects to do anything this year.
I mean, the Rangers, like, they're another team that, like, I think, coming out of the Metro, I like the Rangers' chances of coming out of the Metro really easily. Like, I think I think that they beat, like, if you look at the other teams in the Metro that are their competition, it's Carolina, it's the Flyers. I think the Flyers have done really well this year, but I mean, I just, I think they're going to be more happy to be there than anything else. I mean, they are a Tortorella coach team, so I think playoff hockey is kind of Tortorella's thing.
Yeah.
So I think, maybe they could, but I mean, look at I like the Rangers better than Carolina, just because, again, like, all the Carolina's goaltenders are made of glass, and Igor Shesterkin hasn't been Shesterkin this year, but I just feel like in the playoffs, all you need to do is get him hot, and it's whatever. I mean, it'll be interesting to see, because obviously the Rangers are gonna probably play a team from the Atlantic in the first round. Right now the wild card situation, the Red Wings and the Lightning are the wild card teams. The Devils are slowly, looks like they're trying to creep back into it, but I think the Rangers are going to go far in the East. I don't know if I like the fit. I love the return for the Sharks. Like I said, if you're the Sharks, you run to the fax machine and send that to the trade people as quickly as you can. I just don't know if the fit works for the Rangers.
I mean, hold on, I'm trying to see. I don't know, because right now their wingers aren't super strong. I think they have Jimmy V on Cap Friendly. They have Jimmy Vesey as their, like, second line right winger. Like, you need a little bit more winger depth, in my opinion, there. So, like, maybe Duke fits in there.
I think you can find that from other places.
No, I know. Yeah.
I think there are better options out there besides the
Sharks, if that's your last choice, and you're desperate.
Yeah. Okay, what else do we got here? We got a 3-way also from Phipps. I love 3-ways. Okay, to Nashville via San Jose. They get the Pittsburgh's 2024 5th round pick. The Sharks get Philadelphia's 2024 fifth round pick via Florida, and Florida's 2026 seventh round pick via Florida, and Florida gets Mike Hoffman at 50% retained by Nashville. So Nashville gets a fifth for retaining 50% on Mike Hoffman.
So I need to jump in here on this one right away.
Okay.
I'm going to dash Ireland for Richard's dreams on this.
Okay.
Why does this need to be a 3-team trade? The Sharks have like $55 million in cap space.
But only one
Can't
spot
they
to
just retain
One
half of
spot to
Hoffman
retain.
and then get all 3 picks? Screw Nashville. They don't need to be involved.
It's a good point. I think if it depends on what else you're doing, right? Like, I think the problem is the Sharks do have the one retention spot, right?
Yeah.
They can only retain. So if they're going to retain on something else, like if let's say in this world, they've already retained on Capo Kakinen, so they would need someone else to retain on Mike Hoffman. Mike Hoffman. I don't know, man. Florida. Mike Hoffman, to me, like, he's washed in my opinion.
Yeah. I hate it. I hate saying that.
I
but
hate
it's
saying
totally
it,
true.
but he's like, I can't
was so good in
imagine an NHL team coming around and being like, yo, give me that at any price.
Also, again, like we said, there are better wingers out there than Mike Hoffman available, eh?
Like 100%, yeah.
Frank Vetrano is a guy that, like, easily I think Florida would scoop up, but
then, can they make that cap work? That's the question. I don't think any team hangs up the phone here other than maybe Florida. I don't know. I just, again, maybe it's one of those things where I always wonder if, like, my bias is coming through. I'm just too close to this, and I just think Mike Hoffman's washed and no one would take him. But then we've seen players get, Phil Kessel hasn't played all year, and the Canucks brought him on. So, I mean, like, I don't know. If you're Florida, like, he's just, I think, depth to them. Like, I don't know if he fits into their top 6, in all honesty. Like, they're kind of stacked, but, like, why also give up so many picks for Mike Hoffman, eh?
I want to know what Detroit is up to. I think Steve Yzerman is getting his team prepped to do something big. And obviously, Mike Hoffman's not big. But once, again, just like what I said earlier with Ryan Carpenter, you go out, you make your big splash, and you fill in a couple of gaps. And so, if the Sharks retain 50%, I could see Mike Hoffman being a boost for Detroit's depth scoring as a late round pickup. Phipps hitting us the chat. He's like, Bonino got the same package.
Yeah. No,
when I saw this trade, that was the first thing I thought of was, is this just the repeat of the Bonino one?
Yeah. Okay. I think, we all have our biases. My bias says that Mike Hoffman's washed and no one wants him, but I have been wrong on this show before. It's hard to believe, I know, but
I haven't.
Happens. No, Kevin's never been wrong. Me, on the other hand, wrong all the time. And Jules is batting 1,000 right now too. So
yeah, no, I really am. I disappeared there for a sec. Like Mike Hoffman does. Anyway, sorry.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, we got zingers now.
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching the 11 o'clock hour, and Jules is spicing it up.
Mike Hoffman's gonna score a fucking hat trick on Saturday, isn't he? Fuck. Yeah. Okay.
Oh man, this is good. I hope everyone's having fun. I'm having fun here. The final trade of the evening for Mr. Phipps. To the Tampa Bay Lightning, Ty Emberson. To the San Jose Sharks, a 2025 fourth rounder.
No.
I don't think the Sharks want to move Ty Emberson. I think the Sharks like Ty Emberson.
No. Don't trade Ty Emberson. That's all. I'm not accepting that if I'm the Sharks. No, sorry. Like, I think I'm too close to, like, just attached to Ty Emberson, but, like, I like Ty Emberson. I like what he's brought. If you look, he's, like, I think he was a plus for a very long time, where I don't know how the fuck he was a plus on this team. Keep Ty Emberson. He's a young D-man. I really like him. I like Ty Emberson. Let's keep him.
I think the Sharks like Ty. I don't think he's the guy that Mike Grier wants to move.
No.
I think Ty Emberson. I don't know. I think he's expendable. So
I think he's expendable, but I can't imagine like I can't imagine Mike Grier being like, okay, this guy needs to go. Like it would. I don't know.
It would shock me. And to be fair, if Mike Grier goes out and trades Ty Emberson for like a third or whatever he gets, like don't forget he picked him off of waivers. Like it's basically making something out of nothing.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think.
Sorry, Kevin. Finish your thought. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I think that's why Zetterlund for Richard's choice was a 4th-round pick again, just like AC Mont and Magnet and everything.
Naturally.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think he's expendable, but at the same time, Emberson is a young player who has shown growth every year of his pro career. So why would you want to? Sure, you can cash in on that, but what if he does even better next year?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you're looking for on this club? So to me, I think you retain Emberson, but a 4th-round pick though. I would consider it. It is 2025 though.
Oh, actually, the 2020. Actually, I don't know how deep that 20. I think it's fairly deep, but I still wouldn't do that. Listen, I know we just said trade Ferraro. I really like Emberson. I want them to give him at least one more year before we say throw him into the trading block.
Yeah.
Is he an RFA though? That's my question.
I'm sure he is.
He has to.
I don't know
be.
for sure, but I'm.
He is an RFA.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
with arbitration rights.
With
arbitration. Yeah.
That was an interesting one, though.
Definitely. Now, Tampa, give me your first, and then I'll accept it. But anyways, I'll rest my case.
Other potential things he says, he didn't really give us trades here. Just the thought, like just destinations for some players. He says Jan Ruda to Vegas Golden Knights. Do Vegas need Jan Ruda?
No, they don't. I mean, they are struggling right now, so like maybe, but I don't think.
I think when I look at the Vegas Golden Knights, and it makes people angry. Makes people irrationally angry when
you think very good team when you look at the Vegas Golden. Well, actually, they're struggling.
I mean, obviously, look at injuries are obviously going to be becoming an issue right now. Jack Eichel's out. I think Mark Stone is now going to be out for some time. But I look at this defensive group. I think that Vegas has one of the best defensive groups in the West, maybe the league. What are you talking? They have no defense. What are you talking about?
Okay, that's a little far fetched. I mean, Vegas does have a very strong defense core. Like they're pretty good.
Didn't they just shut the Sharks out?
That's not hard.
That doesn't matter.
They've done that. The Sharks have gotten shut out like 9 times this year. I don't really count that anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So Shea Theodore is hurt, right? Yes, I get that. So that there is a hole there, but
Tampa shit.
Again, depending on how long Theodore's, I just look at this. I look at the defense group, and to me, it's one of the best D-cores in the league.
I will say this: I will not be surprised if Vegas pull some LTIR cap shit and ends up with like Tanev on their back end or like some Vetrano. I don't think Anaheim's trading in division, but like you know what I mean. Like just I wouldn't be surprised if Vegas does that. Oh.
Especially talking like Anna. LeBanc to Arizona, interesting. Carpenter to New York, Bailey to Edmonton. I mean, again, like
interesting.
There's definitely I can see fits there, except for Kevin LeBanc. Again, Kevin LeBanc's a guy who I'm so sour on at this point, where I'm just like, even like I think like I don't think Kevin LeBanc's NHL career is over. I think somebody's going to give him, they'll give him like a 1-year league minimum one-way contract next year to see if they can reclaim him, but I don't think it's going to be like, I know some people like, oh no, like someone's going to, some good team's going to come and scoop him up. It's going to be great. I don't think that's going to be the case at all. I think it's going to be a team like Anaheim or Chicago or, somewhere like someone that's going to need some like depth scoring, but, and wants to go on a reclamation project. I don't know, man. I look at Kevin LeBanc, and even if the Sharks eat a bunch of cap hit on that, like that's still a big deal for a big question mark.
I don't think anyone's taking Kevin LeBanc. I think teams will be interested in signing him in the offseason, but I don't think anyone's going to be interested in trading. And it's a shame, too, because look at last season. It was like pucknologist leading into the trade deadline. Hockey Jerk was so bearish.
Mm-hmm.
Bearish?
Yes.
On Kevin LeBank's trade value at the time, because his points in relation to ice time deployed was like really high. I go back and watch the archive. Subscribe if you haven't already. All that stuff. Go find the archive.
Go find the archive.
I know for certain.
Go find the archives.
Hockey Jerk had some great points about Kevin LeBank's trade value, and that's all been washed away. And the worst part is, it's all been washed away internally.
I'm sure we've all seen the Franklin book where it's like Franklin goes on LTIR to circumvent the salary cap. That's a thing. I love it. Sorry, what was I gonna say here? Yeah, look it's interesting, right? I mean, maybe you can move Kevin LeBanc for a bad contract, but I just don't. Again, I don't see the fit. I don't see how people are gonna do that. Molasses had just a couple destinations. He was too lazy to give us like an actual trade. He said Barabanov to the Tampa Bay Lightning. I could see that.
Ooh. Oh, 100%.
I could
100%.
see Tampa Bay being a team that says, yeah, this guy, is having not a great
So
season.
are they giving
there's your overpaying Tampa Bay one there.
Yeah.
Like, are they giving up their third, their fifth, their sixth from this year? Is that high enough? Or are we adding in a second rounder? Are we getting a second rounder for Barabanov?
It's I don't have a trade, so I mean, make up your trade and be like, yes. He also declared to the Islanders. Where are the Islanders right now? Are the Islanders
Aren't they out of the playoffs?
Yeah, I thought they were too. Actually, no, they're in the mix. They're only 4 points out of the playoff spot.
They're right with the Devils.
They're tied with the Devils, who I think the Devils are going to try and make a big push. I actually think the Devils should hold pat and just wait till next season when they get Dougie Hamilton back.
Yeah, no,
Agreed.
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the Islanders, Lou Lamoriello does some weird shit.
You're not wrong. I mean, they should be rebuilding in all honesty, but
Corey Schneider's coming out of retirement again for the Islanders.
God.
Like, I look at them, but I mean, they don't have like a lot of room. So, I mean, but I guess if you did some retention or whatever, I mean, it's possible. I don't, if you're the Islanders, why are you buying? That's just my kind of thoughts is why. All right. What are we talking about here? What do we got next? Josh Bryan on Twitter. Anyone you can get for a third or better should be gone. I mean,
there
you're
you
not
go.
wrong.
Well, that's why I said, declare for a third and Matthew Robertson. Go for it.
Yeah, Steve at No Tree Fitty on the Twitter machine says a first for Cunnin ? Obviously, going back to the Pagnotta thing. I mean, again, if Brad Treliv wants to give you a first for Luke Cunnin, you run.
Please do.
I abbreviated Steve's thing because Steve's follow up to that was like absolutely, like,
100%.
And sure, absolutely. I think the Sharks, if they can get a third round pick back for Luke Cunnin, I'd be okay with that since that's what they gave up to get him. So to break even, I think would be a huge win on that. I don't hate Luke Cunnin. I just hate the trade that we got for him. So that we made for him. So yeah, I would take the first. Actually, I'd probably run faster than the Duclair for Robertson and a third, I'll be honest, getting a first for Cunnin.
Okay, so what do we got here?
It's all the Toronto stuff now. We're in the Toronto segment of this. Welcome to TSN.
The Toronto segment. Oh God.
Yeah.
The Toronto segment. All right. So Murray Waters at the Mudrat underscore respect the underscore on the Twitter machine said Luke Cunnin to Toronto, Nick Robertson to San Jose. If I'm San Jose, I'd do that in a heartbeat. But
100%.
But I think Toronto. Well, I don't know if again, Brad Treliving is an awful GM. I like the fact that, and again, I don't know. Like Pagnotta is a very hit or miss guy. So I'm curious, like, where he's getting this information from a little bit. If I'm the Sharks, I take the money and run. If I'm Toronto, I mean, again, like, I feel like they like Nick Robertson, don't they?
I feel like we've been waiting for Nick Robertson to arrive in Toronto for 8 years, and I saw that he's still 22 years old. So I'm baffled. I guess it's just how much media coverage Nick Robertson got in his minor league career up to this point. But I mean, he's finally starting to crack the team. But again, I think you said it, Jules. They don't have a whole lot of prospects, or at least like young, good prospects.
I mean,
so Robertson's the
they
dangler.
Need guys
there.
that can play and guys that can play for cheap.
They have like Easton Cowan. I know my video's frozen. I apologize. My Wi-Fi decided to not function properly, but they have like Easton Cowan. They have another guy. I'm forgetting his name. They have guys, but like if you could get Nicholas Robertson, Minton, that's the guy. If you can get Nick Robertson and pair him with like Eklund, I think those two could light it up.
Sure.
Yeah, I think if you're Toronto, you say no.
I think if you're Toronto, you absolutely say no. And I'm gonna give this to Puck Guy because even though this one drives me nuts.
Give me a second.
If you're San Jose, why not?
Yeah. Okay, give me a second before I want to hear a couple things in the chat before I get into the Puck Guy ones here. Andrew O in the chat saying, do you think anyone offers anything for Zetterlund? I don't think it matters. I think Zetterlund's a guy that you got in the Timo Meier trade. I think that he's a guy that they are pretty married to at this point. That trade so far looks pretty good. I don't know why you would undo that unless you're getting your socks absolutely blown off for Zetterlund.
I would trade Nikita Hochuk though. I wrote if you can get a sixth for Nikita Hochuk, I would take that. I don't see him as being part of the solution.
I would have sent him to the Barracuda half a season ago.
I mean, waivers, and they're scared they're going to lose him for nothing. So, like...
Oh, no.
Oh, no. No, again, young defenseman GM decide, yes, unless it's fucking Mario Ferraro, apparently. Young GMs are like, we want to keep young defensemen.
Well, I will say to the Sharks' defense, who would have thought that Ty Emberson would have gotten claimed off waivers from a team too? So you never know. Valid. But I mean, I don't see there being a threat of him being claimed by anybody.
I want to hit Ricky had a thing in the chat here, and I'm going to scroll back up to it before I forget about it too. So I think Ricky had one in the chat here up at the top. Oh yes, we're in Toronto territory. His trade is Ryan Reeves and a second-round pick to the Sharks in exchange for Justin Bailey. Again, I think if you're the Sharks, why not? But I just, again, like, Brad Treliving brought Reeves in for a reason, and I think as much as like I don't think that Ryan Reeves is like at this point in his career is anything, I think that he has. I think that he's done a good job of doing what he's there to do, and that's to make stupid sound bites that takes the attention off the team when things are going wrong. Like, I think he's doing his job.
Yeah.
Again, this is another move where if the Maple Leafs were ever to do this Reeves in a second for Justin Bailey, there are clearly more moves coming. Like this is completely to
this. Yeah.
But I mean, Reeves isn't making that much money for them.
No.
I don't see why the second round pick is a necessary buffer. You know.
I just think he's a guy like too where like I think Mike Greer would like love to have Ryan Reeves on this team for better or for worse, but I don't. I think that Ryan Reeves the guy to me that you know, he kind of sits around, he hangs around. He's probably not dressing for many playoff games. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I
honestly,
think Ryan Reeves' best before date is long past. And I know this isn't a trade for the Sharks. Like the Sharks aren't trying to do anything here. I think his best before days is past, but I think Brad Treliving brought him in for a reason, and that reason is like I think you want a guy like Ryan Reeves that you can throw into a playoff game because you're an idiot and have him go do Ryan Reeves things. Ryan Reeves, for as much as he drives me absolutely crazy, like, he is a guy who had, like, the Sharks in that playoff series before the Sharks turned around and some wankathon happened. Like, they were chasing, like, the Sharks' best players were chasing Ryan Reeves around the ice and not playing. And it wasn't until the Sharks stopped feeding into his bullshit that they were able to get back in that series.
I think that Ryan Reeves is there for if the Panthers and Maple Leafs have another playoff matchup where the Leafs think it's going to be a cakewalk. At least Ryan Reeves can, I'm not going to say neutralize, but he can agitate Matthew Tkachuk, who's trying to agitate all their star forwards.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, if you can get Nicholas Robertson, you kind of have to.
I think if you're the Sharks, you take the money and run. I just don't think that Toronto would take that trade. That's just my opinion.
No, they won't. But I also think Leafs fans would be pissed off if they traded Nicholas Robertson because he's just not getting his opportunity in Toronto.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, Robertson's part of the other Reeves trade that we received.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's go. Puck Guy 14. Our Puck Guy, you know him, you love him. Puck Guy, host of After Dark and general workhorse of Teal Town, USA. He says Toronto acquires Alexander Barabanov, 50% retained. Luke Cunnin, Barabanov going back to the Leafs. Luke Cunnin, Mario Ferraro, a 2025 fourth round pick, which is Winnipeg's pick. In return, San Jose gets again Nick Robertson, Ryan Reeves, Max Domi, and Timothy Liljegren and a first.
My favorite part about this is, and I said it at the start of the year, Max Domi will be the trade deadline casualty of the Maple Leafs. I said it when he got signed. I was like, he's going to have his big old glorious hometown comeback where he will be yet again moved at the deadline. So coming to San Jose, why not?
Fuck. I mean, Toronto says no to this, but at the same time, again, Brad Treliving's a terrible GM. I can't see him throwing, like, Toronto says no because, again, I'm going to go back to the same thing. There's guys here that I just can't see Toronto throwing overboard before the playoffs. It's that simple. Max Domi maybe, but I don't think Ryan Reeves. I think Ryan Reeves is there. I think he's there for a reason. For better or for worse for Leafs fans, I think he's there for a reason. If I'm the Sharks, yeah, of course I do this deal. But I think if I'm Toronto, I hang up the phone.
You're getting two young players. I mean, this is from the Shark side. You're getting Nick Robertson, you're getting Timothy Liljegren, and you're getting a first. I do not care about Ryan Reeves and Max Domi. It's just massive overpay.
Yeah.
But if Brad Treliving calls you and gives you this offer, Puck, please call Brad Treliving immediately. You fucking accept it.
I'll be Gary standing by while you take that call.
Yeah. Puck, let us know what he says, please. But like, you absolutely take it. He would waive, I think, his no. Does fucking Barabanov have a no movement?
He does have no trade, I think.
But,
let me go see.
Anyway.
Let me go bring
in
this
this
up,
imaginary.
I think there is trade protection there. I believe. Alexander Barabanov has a no trade clause. Modified no trade.
While you look this up, one of the reasons why I would say no if I'm Toronto here is, I mean, who knows how the team's going to be in 2 weeks. We see how hot and cold that market always seems to be. Whether the Maple Leafs are doing well or bad, it seems to be hot and cold. They were crying that the Maple Leafs season was over because they were 10th overall in the standings at some point. So, but right now they are on fire. And so why would you do such a massive shakeup like trading in 3 players and trading out 4 players? That just seems like too much of a shakeup to be the Maple Leafs. Look at what happened with the Penguins a couple of years ago. One of the previous TTGs that we did, where I warned the Penguins about bringing in 5 bodies at the trade deadline, and then they ended up not making the playoffs. And if Toronto's not in danger of missing the playoffs, but that might mess up the chemistry a little too much.
Also,
I see what you're going for, but I think that would not work out for Toronto there.
Yeah, I think when you look at
too much.
Sorry, Jules. I think when you look at the trade, like when you look at like current trade rumors and stuff, I can see how Puck Guy got here. But yeah, I agree. Like I just think this is too much. I think Toronto's way overpaying for.
Yeah, is Barabanov got a no movement clause?
He has a 10-team no trade.
Okay.
Interesting. I mean, I think he waives it for Toronto, but like on the expectation he actually gets the opportunity to play this time.
Puck Guy just wants to get rid of Barabanov.
Puck Guy noted Barabanov.
So when Toronto says no.
So Alexander Barabanov, to the Vancouver Canucks. Alexander Barabanov, Mario Ferraro, San Jose acquires Tyler Myers, a 2024 sixth round pick. They get theirs back, and a 2025 second round pick becomes a first round pick if Barley. You can't do that. That doesn't work. He says becomes a first round pick if Barber is re-signed to reach the conference finals. You can no longer do a deal that has any clause of having people re-sign. That is against the CBA. Yes, it is. That's been since the COVID CBA. That is no longer allowed. You can go it on how far playoffs are reached, but you can no longer do a pick based on if they resign or not.
No wonder the Sharks are trying to do that. They're trying to sneak old clauses that don't work. And
I don't know how to feel about this trade.
I don't like this trade. Again, I think that Ferraro is a bigger commodity than Sharks fans are willing to give him credit for. And Tyler Myers is having his best season in a long time, but that's just a buyer beware. I know there has been talk about Myers on the market, and his trade value is actually pretty good. But the Sharks, why would the Sharks make that move? I don't think the rewards are there to
so
move
Tyler
Ferraro.
Myers, $6 million, but as a pending UFA. I mean, it makes sense if the Canucks, if you're trying to do other things. Like obviously this trade doesn't happen in a vacuum. I think it makes sense for the Sharks, but again, I think it's good. I think you keep saying that, maybe Mario Ferraro's value is a little higher than some of us feel it is, and I think that's fair.
If I'm the Sharks, I say no.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I don't know. I just don't think the return's good enough.
Okay. So it's not listed here, but after the Maple Leafs and the Canucks both said no, or no, the Sharks said no to the Canucks. Sorry on that one. We focus south of the border and we go back to Broadway. Now, I've already made my comments about Duclair to the Rangers, but this one is Mario Ferraro donning a blue shirt, which actually I can totally see with Anthony Duclair, which I cannot see, for Capo Caco, Braden Schneider, and a second-round pick that becomes a first-round pick if the Rangers reach the Cup final.
Is that an overpay or is it just me for the
I think
Rangers?
It's an overpay for the Rangers, absolutely. 100% on that. But I do think Capo Caco is a huge wild card in this trade deadline that is not getting nearly enough press, because I think that the Rangers want to make a move, and he is the I know the Rangers want to make a long-term move, not just a short-term move, and Capo Caco is the perfect piece to dangle out if teams think he still has potential. I don't see. I don't know if you simplify it and make it Caco for Ferraro 1-for-1.
Oh. I mean, if I'm the Sharks, I accept this all day. Like, you put Capo Caco, you pair him up with like if Hurdle comes back, you have Granlund or Eklund, you pair him up, something could happen there. And then you also said Braden Schneider.
Yeah, I would take Braden Schneider over Ferraro.
Yeah, no, same. If I'm the Sharks, I'm taking this. If I'm the oh my god, the Rangers, I'm like, why am I making this trade?
Capo Caco's an interesting player to me because he's a guy that you want to see more from him, obviously. I would like to know, like, I'd like to go and really deep dive on Capo Caco and figure out who he's been playing with the most. Because I think a big reason why Alex Lafreniere has kind of had like a resurgence is because he's been playing with Panarin.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that has been tried with Caco. Because I think if you can't play with Panarin, you can't play in the NHL.
That's valid.
So that would be my question. I'd have to do a much deeper dive.
On the next blue tinted glasses, a deep dive into Capo Caco.
I'd like to see that. Ricky in the chat saying Capo Caco is not interesting. He'd be our next Philip Zadina, and
I can see that
at that point, like at this point with Capo Caco, he might not be wrong. I would not do if I'm if I'm the Sharks. Again, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I don't think I would do a 1-for-1 for Capo Caco and Mario Ferraro. I don't think I'd do it.
Okay.
Honestly, Braden Schneider kind of bumps me up on that, wanting to take. I know,
yeah.
But
like, what are you doing?
I agree.
Because what are you doing if you're the Sharks? You're grabbing another winger, which I don't really think the Sharks are flushed with wingers.
They have a lot of them, and they have more in the pipeline.
Like, I don't know.
But I
man.
think if Capo hits, like, I know this is like an if, and it's a very much a wild card, but like, if he hits, it's like a previous second overall pick.
Sure.
Like, I don't know. But I don't think he's gonna hit. That's. But
I think at this point now, like, I look at some guys are just busts. Like, I think some people are declared busts way too soon, but I feel like Capo Caco's been in the league long enough now that I think we can kind of be a little more comfortable in saying that. Like, I think a lot of guys get called busts way too prematurely, but I feel like Capo Caco's been around a long enough time now that I don't know. I think it's, I think the title kind of fits.
Right now, he has in 35 games, 7 goals, 4 assists, 11 points. Like,
what's his ice time? Because I'm guessing he's playing only about 10 minutes,
13 minutes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the last year, his ice time dropped. The year before that, he had 15. So.
Yeah. So yeah. Actually, I think I would keep Ferraro over.
Now looking
too,
at
but
I just don't think Capo Caco addresses a need going forward for the Sharks.
What's that?
I just don't think he addresses a need going forward for the Sharks. They
have
so
not
many
particularly,
of that guy.
especially if the Sharks are as high on Gushchin as it's been bantered about.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Caco's got a much higher ceiling than Gushchin does, but Caco, like you said, has been around long enough that he should be performing more than he is, and yeah, that's that. My favorite part about this particular discussion is we're folks in the chat. We're aware that Jules' screen froze long ago, but she seems very intrigued by this. I mean, look at that face. She's like, huh. Yeah, so I love it.
I will say the Sharks, especially on right wing, as I recall, Capo Caco is a right winger. I might be wrong.
Yes.
Correct me in the chat. They do have a few of those coming up. So, like, they don't necessarily need another one. Of course, it's great to have a plateau of right wingers, but, like, the more I'm thinking about it, the more, like, maybe not 1-for-1 for Ferraro. If you have
this is a guy that Mike Greer is also going to be very familiar with as well.
BU, or where did he go? Boston?
No, because he was in the Rangers organization.
Oh,
where Mike
yeah,
Greer
that
came
too,
from,
yeah.
right? So Mike
Oh,
Greer
yeah, yeah.
is a Mike Greer is this is a guy that Mike Greer is gonna be very, very familiar with at this point. So maybe he sees something that none of us do, but I have my doubts.
I'm just curious who he was playing with, because like I'm curious if it's like a thing where like you pair him with the right center, like the guy's just gonna implode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
But
mean,
again-
he's mostly playing on their third line. From what I can tell, he's generally been playing on their third line with Brodzinski and
Yeah, I don't-
Creel.
By the way, congrats to former Shark and Barracuda Johnny Brodzinski on a 2-year contract extension at age 30.
Yeah, good for him. I don't know. I look at that and I don't know, man. Like there's too much buyer beware. Enough the Sharks. Enough. I mean, there's always room for a reclamation project. I feel like the Sharks have a lot of those right now.
No, I don't. Honestly, again, I've said this before. The thing that intrigues me about this trade is the Schneider guy, and that's
Sure, but again, I just can't imagine.
No, I get that. I get that.
Like I just can't. I just why would you trade for Mario Ferraro, Braden Schneider? I can't see. If I'm the Rangers,
I
hang
don't
up the
even
phone.
1-for-1 from a Rangers perspective. It doesn't make sense.
Rangers hang up the
Yeah.
phone.
The Rangers love Braden Schneider.
Right. Yeah.
I
Like
do.
I just they hang up the phone. Capo Caco is on his final year of his contract. He has arbitration eligible RFA in the summer. He's only making $2.1 million, but I feel like I wonder, like, do they even, if they don't trade him, do they even qualify him? I wonder if I mean, the cap's going up, so maybe he's not going to be such a casualty, but I wonder if he's a guy that doesn't get a QO to take away his arbitration rights. Not that he has a good arbitration case.
Yeah. I don't know. This is a interesting trade.
All right. I think I have one more. Do you have anything
Yeah.
else, Kevin, before I finish on?
No. Just thanks for those, puck guy, because those
Yes.
were creative for sure. So we were able to break those down pretty good. I like that.
Matt Morrison at Elon Musk sucks on Twitter. Elon Musk does suck, for the record. Jack Campbell and a first to the San Jose Sharks for nothing.
Future considerations.
Future considerations. Yes, my favorite.
I heard
player.
they have a point strike going up. Future considerations. So there you go. I don't know. How long is that Campbell contract? Isn't
It's
it like
Campbell
fucking
it's like
contract
3 more
is
years.
to
after-
infinity and
bad.
beyond? No.
I think it's 3 more years after this at 3.85 per. So I don't think I mean, yes, right now Jack Campbell is platooning in Bakersfield, so the contract is horrible in that respect. But like the Sharks, if they were to do this, they're not putting Jack Campbell on the Barracuda. They'd be putting him on the Sharks. And
But
I
that-
don't think it's the worst contract for them to absorb. And if you get a first-round pick for it, sure.
Get me another defenseman in this draft, please.
27. He signed until 26-27. So here's the thing. I don't hate this trade. I think it makes sense for both teams. I think Edmonton obviously pays a premium to get rid of, to get some cap space, because even with Jack Campbell in the AHL, he's still counting almost $4 million against the Oilers cap. First round pick is a big price to get rid of. I still think they take something back other than future considerations, but
So,
I just wonder if this is a deal where Capo Kakinen goes the other way.
yeah,
Maybe
that's what I was going to
salary
say.
retained.
Like, if Capo Kakinen's added the other way, I feel like the Sharks are going to want something else from Edmonton, not just the first. I feel like
Yeah.
Broberg would have
So
to.
so you're saying first Campbell and something for Kakinen? I can see that.
Oh, and Alex Stalock. Yeah, no, of course.
Oh yeah, Pip saying
Stalock,
to Anaheim,
what?
E2 Makaniemi to San Jose, Alex Stalock, so we can have one other an hour long show of what Alex Stalock coming back to the Sharks, like we I did once and got roasted endlessly for it.
No, but I think if you do Campbell a first, Broberg for Capo Kakinen,
That's too much.
I think
Really?
it's too much too.
Yeah, the first, because look at Jack Campbell has term. I mean, I don't hate the idea, because here's the thing, right? The Sharks are not going to be good next year. They're probably not going to be good the year after that. They might start to be good on the last
How
year
many
of
more
that
After
deal.
Darks?
On the last year of that deal, they might be okay. And again, is Mackenzie Blackwood still good at that time? Who knows? The only thing that concerns me is just the term, because I feel like the Sharks have done a good job with their goaltending of late, of signing guys to short deals and kind of seeing what they have. They haven't
Yeah.
I hope they don't go against that this year and be like, oh, here, Kakkonen, we didn't trade you and now you're going to get a 4-year deal. Like, that would probably make my head hurt. But you know what? Again, I don't think I think when you look at the Sharks window, like, it's not a terrible contract to eat.
No,
it's not.
You can split time between him and Blackwood, which is fine.
And
Sorry,
goalies are voodoo. Yes, I think the contract is twice as much as what he should be making, because I've never been a Jack Campbell guy. But coming into the season, there were questions about Blackwood and Kakkonen, and that's been the only fun thing watching the Sharks for this season. So, like, who's to say Jack Campbell all of a sudden doesn't resurrect himself and become Mackenzie Blackwood on this team? I don't know. I actually kind of like this idea. Plus, future considerations was once upon a time Vincent Praplin, and he just won the Champions Hockey League for Genève Servette today. So, hey, future considerations is not the worst option for Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I think it's something that I think Edmonton would obviously consider, because I think they're going to want to do some things. Look, this is a team that, again, like, these teams are teams that have to win. They have to win now, and they're under the gun to win now. And I think, cap space unfortunately comes at a premium. Now, look, the cap is going to go up next year, and then it's going to go up the year after that. And we're actually going to finally see the cap start moving. But the Oilers aren't a team that can just throw away another playoff year.
No, they can't. Not with McDavid and Draisaitl. Contracts like almost expiring. I was going to say something, but my mind blanked. What I will say is, like, if I'm the Sharks, I am calling Edmonton and dangling Kakkonen in front of them just to see what they would offer for Kakkonen. And I think you do that with a lot of teams who need goaltending, like the Rangers. Not the Rangers, Devils, Hurricanes. Their goaltending is like steel glass, so maybe not them, but yeah.
So Ricky's saying in the chat, this feels like we're making the same mistake we made with Hill versus Reimer. Why are we shipping out Kakkonen and the younger of the pair when they've been more comparable? Again, I think that here's the thing with Kaapo Kakkonen, right? If the Sharks like him that much, they can circle back to him in free agency.
Yeah.
But the other thing is like, again, I think he's had a good year, but he always seems to have really good years when he's due money. Like, he came over to San Jose. He was due a contract. I thought he played really well. I was really happy with Kaapo Kakkonen when he came over. But again, like, you never know what you're going to get year to year, man. I still don't lose any sleep about Aiden Hill. And maybe I'm in the minority about that. I don't lose sleep. You know why? Because Aiden Hill plays behind one of the best defensive groups in the league. And now
that is very true.
And the Sharks are not that. Like, I know people like lose, and it's fine. I mean, if you want to lose sleep over Aiden Hill, do it. But, I mean, given the information at the time, like, Aiden Hill was not good in San Jose at any point.
No.
There was, it's one of those things that just, it sucks, right? And it's one of those things that you're right. Maybe Kaapo Kakkonen goes somewhere and he becomes Mika Kiprusoff. And then we can all be like, fuck Ian, stupid idiot. And fine, that'll be fine. But I don't know, man. Like, I still watched Kaapo Kakkonen play last year, and I worry what happens when that goalie comes back. I think the Sharks, it's going to be hard because they're going to have to basically make some decisions in goal that are going to be tricky. But I also think that they're so far from contending that they don't have to solve goaltending right now either.
No, and they don't. Like, you think about when all these, like, guys that are coming in, like Smith, Musty, Cagnoni, Holton, and like are actually going to start hitting it and actually contributing to the team. I don't see that happening until 25, 26. Like, so they have time to figure out their goaltending. And like maybe maybe Kakkonen or Blackwood is the answer, but they're in no rush, I think, right now to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I
Like, if you can
100%
get
agree.
if you can get a first round pick for Kakinen, like at this point, I'm taking that.
100%. Kevin?
I just wanted to make a comment on the other thing that Ricky said in the chat, which was Blackwood was an AHLer last year. Blackwood was playing with a torn MCL and a pulled groin. That's why he was in the AHL last year, and he's rebounded, which only goes back to the point that I said about you never know. Goalies are voodoo. Jack Campbell comes in, first round pick. Suddenly Jack Campbell is a good year next year. Ship him back out, get another pick or something, or keep him like all the points you just said about Blackwood versus Kakkonen right there. So.
Also, if that's an unprotected 2025 first, sign me up. That draft
100%.
is loaded. Like, if the Edmonton Oilers fall off a cliff and end up with a second overall pick, we're getting Michael fucking Misa to the San Jose Sharks. Like, sign me up.
So the question was why Reimer over an unproven? I'm not moving the goalposts. I don't think I'm moving the goalposts at all. Why Reimer over an unproven guy? Reimer had a really good season, or did we forget that?
Last year?
No, his last year in Teal was not good, but the year before that, he was very good.
Yeah, for sure.
15 or whatever.
Like, he was good. Like, I don't think you're shifting the goalposts. I think you took a veteran guy again for a team that's why you trade Reimer. Sure, I guess, but I mean, again, it doesn't matter.
Like when they could have traded Reimer, they didn't. And last year at the trade deadline, he was awful garbage.
Yeah, I know he was bad. Like, obviously, his last year in San Jose, it didn't work out, right? But I think you looked at the team. You said who was going to give you the best goaltending, and that's what they did. I don't know. I don't hate it. I mean, I can understand why people are upset that Vegas won a Stanley Cup with San Jose's goalie, and we're going to cry about that forever, and I get it. But, like, again, I don't really lose sleep over it because, again, I think Vegas is a really fucking good team, and I think that you don't need elite goaltending to win Stanley Cups, and we've seen that time and time again. You just need a goalie to get hot at the right time and a team in front of them that can put pucks in the net.
What I will say is make sure you get a goalie back if you're trading Capo, because none of the young guns are ready to take over. Like, I don't want a repeat of us throwing Crown into the fucking Wolves or throwing Mackey. I don't think Crown would be
the guy they'd bring up anyway. But I don't know. I mean, again, you can do that. You can solve that problem.
Are they bringing up Romanov?
No.
Like, none of the young guns are really ready. So that's my other concern. Sharks need to take a gamble on it. That's not 100%. This is not to do that. But yeah, I don't know.
No, they do. I think that's the thing. The Sharks need to actually draft a decent goalie prospect that can, be somewhat ready for when this team is actually good, and then patchwork until we get there. I don't know. I feel like
I didn't expect that comment or that proposal from Matt Morrison would get such a lengthy discussion.
Oh, yeah.
But good one on you, Matt Morrison. Thanks for submitting. Thanks to everybody for submitting your offers.
Yeah.
We hope we gave it the good, honest try on why one team would or wouldn't versus the other. That was the name of the game, and hopefully we can make it a yearly segment. I think this has been a fun discussion.
I think I'd like to do some more stuff like this because I think it's fun. Like the Barracuda are fun. Like, don't get me wrong, I like talking about the Barracuda, but the Barracuda, like, it's hard to give them, like, when you cover them, like when we're starting to cover them as regularly as we are doing shows on the Barracuda, there's only so much to talk about with the Barracuda because, like, they're a last place team. The trade deadline is a thing in the AHL, but it's nowhere near what it is in the NHL. Like, so it's nice to have like topics like this that are kind of like things that we can kind of have fun and goof off with. So I'd like to kind of do this more going forward, I think, with not obviously this specifically, but other fun things like this that we can goof off and kill over an hour on. Yeah, I mean, any final thoughts, guys, so we can get out of here?
William Eklund is not getting traded. I'm done. Good night.
Where can they find you, Jules?
Oh yeah, I'm at Sharks Jules. At maybe there's an underscore there. I may have said that wrong. There probably is an underscore there. There is. Yeah. Okay. Cool. At Sharks underscore Jules. I post on Twitter sometimes about prospects, but if you want updates on prospects, I will update sometimes.
Yeah. You can follow me at Ian Blogs Hockey on the Twitter machine. I think I'm also Ian Blogs Hockey on Blue Sky if you're there. I haven't really used it yet. I don't know. I use so little social media now that I don't think I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Social media is dumb. Kevin.
I'm at Kevin Lacey 22. My final thoughts, I got 3 of them. I'll keep them brief, though. First off, Jules and I went to the Sharks game on Monday, and a fan came up, wished Jules all the best. What about me? I'm standing here, too. I'm on the podcast. We're doing the show together. What the heck? Okay, I realize Jules is on way more than I am. Point taken. I need to step my game up. So I'll make it a goal to become more noticeable here the rest of the season. Speaking of noticeable, some people have asked why at the Barracuda the games lately Emily Harlan has been filling in full time as the arena host, and unfortunately, as polarizing of a person as he is, Aaron Fonseca had a health emergency that he's been dealing with. So, yeah, it's pretty bad. So I do wish all the best to Aaron in his recovery. And I don't think it's my place to say what's going on. It is public knowledge, but I don't feel it's my place to say. But, get well soon, Aaron, and keep fighting the good fight. And
TTZMZ, man, I love it.
Yeah. The last little bit, and this part goes to news, since the AHL All-Star Classic, one great positive thing with the local media has happened where KTVU Channel 2 has actually started including Barracuda information in their news ticker every morning. Well, not every morning, but on game day morning. So there was a game last week where I think it was the one where Bakersfield got destroyed by the Barracuda, and the score was right there in the ticker right after the Sharks loss. And and then this morning it even said Barracuda host Coachella Valley at TechCU Arena tonight. And I was just like, wow, finally some local news media. I'm not expecting the world. It's minor league sports here. But, I mean, NBC won't even cover the Sharks highlights at the end of the night, and they're the parent company. So good on you, Channel 2, KTVU, for giving the Sharks and some Barracuda love here. So that's awesome.
Phipps saying that I am on the Teal Town trade block. No other podcast can afford me. I think all the other podcasts, like they don't swear, and I do a lot. So I don't think there's a fit there.
I did not know there was a trade block. Okay.
Apparently there is, and I'm
apparently
gone.
there is.
Didn't we trade Hockey Jerk to Pittsburgh a couple years ago and then signed him back? Wasn't that a thing?
Yeah.
Stay tuned for the Teal Town trade deadline.
All right. In case you missed it or you want to watch this puppy again, you can always find it on the YouTube. You can find the audio on any audio platform that you can probably think of. If you can't find it, let me know, and I will make sure it is there. You can always, again, if you want to help us out, liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, all that fun YouTube stuff you're supposed to do. We had some really good conversation on this, so if you have any thoughts of your own, be sure to hit us up in the comment section below. But other than that, we appreciate you all being here, and we will see you on the next one.